The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio.
Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss how you can deal with mosquitoes on your property, as well as beans, bush beans, pole beans, and dry beans, shelling beans. Our guest is Russell Taylor, of VP of Live Earth Products, and will answer your garden questions. The hour is full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program. Whether you're listening to us on one of the 20 AM and FM frequencies broadcasting our program here in 2023 through our parent website, which is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, underneath the Season 7 tab at the top of the page. Radio app, podcast replay, or in-studio video replay. We thank you for doing such. I am your host, Joy Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. If you want to be part of the program today, you can do that by sending us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to give us a call, you can give us a call 24/7, 365. We can't get to you during the show, please leave a message. And that number is toll-free, coast-to-coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. 1-800-927-7469.
So let's get into the program here.
Mosquitoes.
We're going to talk about mosquitoes and how to deal with them naturally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, we do have a sponsor, Nat Green Products, at natgreenproducts.com. They have a product that is a bug repellent that is environmentally friendly. It is made in the USA. It's a cedar blend that repels and eliminates mosquitoes, ticks, fleas, roaches, ants, and many other bugs. Just so you're aware, you can go to nomorebugs.net or natgreenproducts.com, and you can use coupon code FREESHIP, the number 4, ME, M-E, and get free shipping on orders over $50. And it works phenomenal. And they also have a No More Weeds. They have an organic or a environmentally friendly weed killing product as well. So you can use harsh chemicals. You can spray them on your body. You can use smoke stuff around your house. However, you can use natural plants in order to repel the mosquitoes you have on your property.
Right. And so in some of these, it's not just necessarily about planting them, but it's also maybe applying it to your body, or
right.
kind of having the dried plants around.
The main first defense of getting control of the mosquito population is to remove anything or dump anything out that has standing water. A droplet or a spoonful, a tablespoon of water can house hundreds of mosquito eggs, whether that's in a toy that's been flipped upside down and water has congregated there, or if in tires or anywhere else that may have stagnant water. This is where mosquitoes, this is how they reproduce.
Right. And a lot of people don't realize this because they think, it's just a little...
It's not a swamp.
It's not a swamp. It's a small little tire, or a small, like the lid to maybe a sandbox or something. They don't think about those types of things. But because of that, then you would have more mosquitoes. And then another thing you can do is keep your grass cut short.
Right.
And that will make a difference too. And you might think, well, I don't like my grass looking that short, but when you got mosquitoes attacking you the minute you step outside, it's like, which one would you prefer?
Right. Now there are candles in which you can get citronella. Citronella is an ingredient by nature in many of these plants that we're going to talk about. But the application is not just you grow 7 of these plants, 7 lemongrasses around your property, and you're not going to have mosquitoes. The lemongrass, it has to be broke down into an oil, or broken leaves to release that oil to rub on your clothing or rub on your skin, or take a wad of it and throw in your campfire in order to emit that oil or that fragrance in the air.
Right. So the citronella is commonly known, if you grow it, as a mosquito plant. A lot of times you'll see that at a big box store. There will be, it'll say mosquito plants or mosquito repel plants,
Right.
something like that. And it's actually a type of geranium. And then that's where the citronella scent comes from.
Now, one of the easiest things in which we can grow is marigolds. Marigolds are easy to grow. They're an annual flower. They emit a smell that deters mosquitoes. This is one of these plants in which you don't have to break down, rub on your clothing. It will emit them. You can grow them in pots, along the patio, wherever you want, but it helps keep bugs out. Marigolds are also a popular addition to the vegetable garden in order to bring bees in, not so much to repel rabbits. That's another story for another day.
Yeah, some people think that marigolds repel rabbits, and that's not the case. It's certain ones, blah, blah, blah. But in regards to the mosquitoes, it is efficient, and it does add a nice pop of color to your garden. I remember my grandparents growing up, they always planted marigolds along their walkways, and they were very colorful and bright. And now I'm wondering if they perhaps did that because of mosquitoes. Who knows?
Right.
And then another grouping is rosemary, thyme, and basil. So just like lavender and marigolds, those herbs, they emit a smell of their own to keep the mosquitoes away.
Uh-huh.
There's also, some people say, like, if you eat a certain way, or as you get older, maybe mosquitoes find you less appealing. But female mosquitoes they're the ones that feed on your blood, because they need that blood to prepare for reproduction. So that's why. So it's not male mosquitoes. Male mosquitoes actually get nectar from flowers, plant sap, and then honeydew. But the female mosquitoes are the ones that are the little vampires. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some research shows that extraction from plants such as marigolds, lemongrass, catnip, lavender, rosemary, garlic, basil, thyme may offer some level of repellent. But remember that it's not the plant necessarily, that it's not planting it, but it's the addition. These things have been tested because of the oils, not because they've grown all these plants in an area and the bugs don't go to them.
Right.
And you can rub the like basil. You can take and break it up and rub it on your skin. You can rub it on your clothes. Rosemary is another one. People will take rosemary spheres, limbs, and put in their campfire, and that smoke will kind of cascade over the property. I mean, these all are pretty plants and all beneficial, not just to repel mosquitoes as well.
Right. Now, I'm going to put a caveat here, because I think it's important that it's good to maybe find a plant alternative to using something like bug spray on your skin, your body, etc.
Well, Nat Green Products is all natural, and it's safe for you, your pets.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm
the
also...
chemical stuff is what you're referring to.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about natural bug repellent. I'm talking about the stuff in the aerosol can. Yeah, that has usually DEET in it.
Right.
I will recommend, because the tick population continues to be high in the woods in many areas of the country, that if you are going to hike or spend a long amount of time in the woods, especially, I think tick season is typically from late spring to fall. You want to be aware of that, and same thing for your pets. Don't spray DEET on your pets. But on yourself, just keep in mind that yes, it is beneficial if you are just like hanging on your backyard to use something like Nat Green products or plant some of these plants. But if you are in an area that is a high chance for ticks, keep that in mind, that it's okay to use those products.
Right.
Yeah, just for your own safety.
So other plants in which you can grow, but you use them for the breaking up of the leaves, and then you lay them around the door of your house, or you can put them on you can make oils out of them. You can rub on your clothes. Sage is another one. Mint is another very good one. Bee balm is another one which you can do. Just basil, any fragrance of basil. Rosemary we talked about. Cat mint is another one that you don't necessarily have to break up. The aroma of the catnip, or the cat mint, if I'm remembering correctly, can emit the aroma without having to utilize that in an oil base.
Right. So those are some different options for you in regards to some dried plants, etc. And I think the biggest thing is that to be smart, you can grow these plants or whatever, but think about, like we mentioned before, with the standing water. Same thing if you're going to go to a park or something. Maybe you don't hang out if there's a pond that has standing water.
Right.
Maybe don't go hang out right by the pond. Especially, it seems like these mosquitoes tend to come around in the evening times or whatever. Keep that in mind, and that's where they're going to be. And then do your research and figure out, perhaps, I know there's like things that talk about different blood types, etc. Maybe you're one of those people and you're just prone to mosquitoes liking you more. I'm not really sure about that, but definitely think about yourself, where you're going, what you're doing, and how to just kind of stay away from mosquitoes too.
There you go. Well, what you don't want to stay away from is waltonsinc.com. They have all the supplies that you need for your backyard barbecue or your butchering processes.
Yeah, Walton's Inc. We know you care about where your food comes from. Canning, preserving fruits and vegetables is great, but what about the meat? At Walton's, you can get everything you need from seasoning equipment, supplies to make sausage, jerky, etc., snack sticks. And then there's meatgistics.com to help educate people on the hows and whys of meat processing, as well as a community of almost 15,000 users who will help give their opinion and guidance on meat processing issues. At Walton's, they have decades of experience from the meat processing industry to bring the information to the home processor. They have stuffers, mixers, meat grinders, spices, seasonings, etc. I just made chili again this week and used some good old Walton spices. So they have everything but the meat. You can go to waltonsinc.com, meatgistics.com. At waltonsinc.com, you can use code GROW50 to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more.
When we come back, beans, bush beans, pole beans, dry shelling beans. We'll cover all of that. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Grip 6 produces American-made products with sleek designs and quality materials. Based and manufactured in Utah, they have high quality and durable products to last a lifetime. They are built beyond tough. The wallets are low profile, made out of high quality aluminum, and options to upgrade. Access your cards and cash without bulk. Guaranteed to last a lifetime. It's the last wallet you'll ever need. Your traditional wallet is big and bulky and not easy to access the cards you need conveniently. Grip 6 has a quick array access for your cards. You can also add money bands for cash, more cards, business cards, and more. Variable capacity for minimalists or maximalists. Lightweight, sleek, and no wallet bulk in your pocket while gardening, working outside, or enjoying the great outdoors. Designed and manufactured in-house for best results and quality every time. When you purchase from Grip 6, you're supporting long life cycle products and American-made manufacturing. Check out their belts, wallets, and socks at grip6.com. Use code RADIO15 to save 15% off at grip6.com. Goodbye, biting bugs and plant invaders. No More Bugs by Naturally Green Products is your answer. A product pioneered by the USDA in 14 years in business, No More Bugs has been a favorite by consumers across the country. More than a repellent, it is safe for you, your plants, pets, and home. Visit nomorebugs.net. Free shipping on orders over $50. Use code FREESHIP4ME. Make watering easy. DripWorks provides quality drip irrigation supplies and equipment to gardeners just like you for all your growing needs across the U.S. and Canada. Purchase online at dripworks.com.
Going on vacation and can't find a plant sitter? Check out Tree Diaper. It can provide perfect soil moisture for plants for weeks, even months. Use coupon code GARDEN15 to save 15% off at treediaper.com.
Deer Defeat is an all-natural based animal repellent to keep deer and rabbits away from your valuable plants that is odorless after 30 minutes and dries clear. It creates a continuous, invisible shield to protect your plants. Works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Will not clog your sprayer. Apply to your property without environmental damage. You can spray directly onto your plants up to flowering, then apply around your plants to continue protection. No need to reapply. Money back guarantee. To purchase, go to deerdefeat.com and use coupon code RADIO to save 10% off your order. Aqua-Mart.com has everything you need for eye-pleasing outdoor water features on your property. For over 25 years, we've been creating and field testing beautiful water features in order to provide you with the most reliable products and best value in the industry. From easy-to-install pond and water fill kits to pumps, fish food, and more, you'll find everything you need to install and maintain a naturally balanced water feature in your yard. Make your backyard a true oasis and maintain it well. Visit aqua-mart.com to shop for all your needs.
When I commit to someone, I want them to commit back to me for, life. That's why I love Verlo mattress. When you buy a Verlo, you get something nobody else offers, a commitment to helping you love your sleep for as long as you own your mattress with a lifetime comfort guarantee. Those other places, you get a measly 60, 90, maybe 120 nights. Not even close, guys. Wake up, sleep better. Verlo.
The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Chapin Manufacturing Incorporated, Aqua-Mart, Soil Savvy, Wind River Chimes, Wisconsin Greenhouse Company, Pro Plugger, Deer Defeat, Dripping Springs Oyas, Phylum Bioproducts. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us today. Farm Defense. Holly?
Farm and Garden, the ultimate comfort. Farmer's Defense has lightweight and durable sleeves made to protect you against the elements while farming. Farmer sleeves offer unparalleled protection of arms and skin for any farmer, gardener, or outdoor worker. Say goodbye to irritated skin and sunburns in the garden. Their sleeves offer cooling comfort and protection against the elements outdoors. An alternative to thick clothing, Farmer's Defense is made of wicking material with UBF protection factor of 50 plus to protect you from allergens and scratches. To find all their great products and more, you can visit farmersdefense.com. Well,
yes,
we are, speaking of picking things in the garden, if you have a successful bean harvest, you can wear your Farmer's Defense for the bean harvest if you need to.
There's many different types of beans in which you can grow. Most commonly, for many of us backyard gardeners, it is bush beans or pole beans. There is a difference. They produce the same quality or type of bean in most cases. Now, with bush beans, you've got the green bean that we're all known of and familiar with. You've got a yellow or a golden pod bean, and then you have a purple pod bean. The purple pod bean, when cooked, turns to green. It loses its pigment. Now, bush beans can take 40 to 60 days to reach a pickable state. And if kept watered and harvested, they will continue to produce all the way to the end of frost. When frost kills it or you kill it, and you can produce a lot of beans in a very small area. We had 2 years ago an 4x12 bed, 4 foot wide by 12 foot long, and we had 3 rows of beans in that bed. I forget, I don't know how many beans we had, 20, let's say 60.
That was a lot of beans.
And we were picking it twice a week, and we were getting about 3 to 4 pounds of beans every picking. And we do not can or pressure can our green beans. That is the right and safe way to do it now. We simply blanch and freeze them. We find that to be a more palatable way to consume the beans rather than canning them. Holly thinks that they're too mushy.
Yeah, they are mushy.
So those are bush beans. Now,
beans.
Pole beans take 70 to 80 days to reach maturity. It's best to be grown on a apparatus in which they can grow vertically. They can grow 8, 10, 12 feet long. We've had them grow up a 6-foot trellis and then back down the trellis. And you can continue to harvest those until frost kills them or you kill them. And the key to both of these is you want to harvest them when they are at a decent edible state. You don't want to wait until they're big and bulky.
These when you're talking about these beans, these are the green beans, or like you said, the blue lake.
Blue Lake.
That's a popular one. These are the ones that are like the fresh beans, I guess you would call them. So that is, some people, maybe they don't like those, and then they want maybe the hard beans, which are black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans,
Black
etc.
eyed peas.
Black eyed peas, the ones that you commonly use in soups, stews, chilies, etc.
Navy beans.
Things like that. And these are easy to grow as well.
They take longer, though. In most cases, these take longer. For example, pinto beans can take 75 to 100 days to get to the pod where the bean is plump and ready to harvest. However, with these beans, you want to leave them on the vine as long as possible because you're wanting them to dry naturally. You don't want to have to bring them inside and peel the green pod off and then leave them on a plate for 3 or 4 weeks in ambient air flow light in order to get them to dry.
Right. So they do take longer. You need to let them dry. It's best to let them dry on the vine.
Correct.
Or on the vine or the bush or whatever you want to call it. And then once they are dried, you can go ahead and harvest them, and then you have to remove them from the I can't think of the word.
Shell.
The shell. There you go.
Pod,
whatever you want to call it. And beans are really having, hard shell beans especially, are really having kind of a glow up. A lot of people are learning that because of their nutrition density, they're very good for you, which people have always known for years, but now people are also discovering this, and it is a really good way to have a vegetable-based, plant-based protein, and they're not expensive to grow.
Well, the thing with the hard shell beans, your pintos, your kidney and all that, you've got to grow a lot of beans in order to get some volume. It's not like green beans where you can grow 20 plants and pretty much have all the green beans you want canned up or froze up for the year. If you grow 20 plants of kidney beans or pinto beans or fill in the blank northern white beans, you've got to have a lot of beans in order to fill a quart jar or a half-gallon jar or a gallon jar.
Right. And with that being said, you can buy a pound of beans, dried beans, hard shell beans, for like less than $2.
Less than you can a can of the same variety?
Well, no, because it's the dry beans produce more than what comes in like a 16-ounce
Right,
can.
I know. But you get a 16-ounce can of kidney beans or 2 pounds of dried kidney beans. Your per ounce is going to be better with the dried beans than in the jar.
Yeah, basically.
But there's a procedure that is not ready enough. You just can't pop the jar off, open the jar of the kidney beans, and put them in the. You got to let the hard shell beans soak. Is what I'm getting at.
You got to let them soak. You got to let them cook.
Even if you harvest them yourself, there's a certain time frame in which you can cook them hard, but they take a lot more time in order to become tender.
Yeah, there's a whole process there. So I'm just saying that if you are limited on plant space.
Grow the green beans and the pole beans, and buy the kidney and buy the dry shell beans.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
If you're like, I'm going to grow for harvest, you can grow for harvest, but maybe you want to grow something else for harvest, versus when you can go to even your local gas station and probably buy a bag of beans. Well,
obviously, you can buy a large quantity of beans from the Indian store.
Yeah.
I guess that's the correct pronunciation.
Any sort of
ethnicity.
Ethnic food store.
You can buy like feed sack fulls of these things.
You can buy a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of a lot of things you can buy there to cook and spice your foods, etc.
Yeah.
But so when you're planting beans, you do want to plant them about 1.5 inches apart. And then you want to space your rows 14 to 36 inches apart. So I would say you could probably get away with like a foot.
Yeah, foot. That seems more like for if you're planting a field of them with agricultural planter. I mean, like you look at black eyed peas. I know you don't like black eyed peas.
I don't dislike them. They just have more of like an earthier flavor. They're not my favorite.
Well, they take 60 to 70 days, and you can green pods are useful and fresh eating. You can eat those. Many of these beans, you either going to eat the green beans or you're going to wait for the hard shell beans to get ready, and you leave them be. Black eyed peas are a little different. You can use them as early fresh pods. You can cook them like edamames. That's soybeans for those who are unaware. I didn't know what edamame was. Oh, it's a soybean. It's an immature soybean of organic manner. If you're in a farm situation, you can take some of those soybeans that are not organic and make edamame out of them before they start turning.
Right, and that's another, edamame is a very high source of protein as well. So that's something to keep in mind. When you are growing anything, whether it be the green beans, the pole beans, bush beans, whatever, that you are going to eat fresh, you do want to harvest them once they get about, 2 to 3 inches long, 3 inches long.
You don't want them big, bulky, and thick with that seed in there.
Yeah, they get like kind of earthy. They get kind of chewy, kind of woody, I guess you could say.
And if you leave them at that point, most of the time the plant is really not very happy to try to produce more if you harvest them, because they've already figured out that we've made 17 pods on this plant of 4 beans in each pod, and we're ready to go to reproduce next year. We're done. You got to keep harvesting when they are of a almost immature state.
I'm also going to advise you not to have a gardening partner who is colorblind and can't see the beans.
That's not me. That's you.
Yeah, I know. That's me.
Okay.
So...
well, you're not colorblind, but it's hard to see the green on the green.
No, I am green colorblind.
Green colorblind.
Yeah, so that's why they blend in.
So that's why we grow the yellow and the purple ones.
I think
they're not called purple; they're called royalty. Beans.
But just for the disclaimer, they turn the yellow beans will stay yellow.
Yes,
the purple beans turn green when you cook them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well. If you're choosing to, I would choose to grow. We grow both pole beans and bush beans in our garden. And we try to grow as many as possible because fresh beans are extremely costly. Even in a in a normal year, they're very costly to purchase.
Even at some of the cheaper grocery stores, they're like $3 a pound.
Right. And we, if you continue to harvest and keep the water to them, you can get 3 pounds a week, after 60 days. And just continue to harvest and harvest and harvest until the point where you're not happy that you have to harvest more green. And then you can leave them on the vine and let them fully mature, save the seeds, and plant them next year.
That year, what was that, 2 years ago? I think that was 2020. Did we?
Oh, that year. That year.
Uh-huh. Was it a particularly wet year that year? I can't remember.
That was the first year that we had always been told. And we'd always just done it where they were, bush beans will grow 40 to 60 days to grow. We got that. They mature and you start harvesting. Understood that. We continued to harvest and continue to keep the water on them, and they continued to produce. We were always told after about 2 or 3 weeks, they're done, they're not going to do any more. End of story, pull them up, get rid of them. They continued to produce because we kept the water and kept harvesting them. That's why we had so many beans that year.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the other thing is your beans will kind of tell you that's a foolproof thing, I think, about beans is they'll tell you when they're ready to harvest. I mean, obviously green beans, pole beans, whatever you want to call them, the fresh beans, you're going to see that they're there and they're a few inches long and you want to harvest them.
And you got to lift up either one. You've got to lift up the leaves. You got to look around. They're just not going, hey, I'm right here. There's layers of them.
Mm-hmm. And then the dry beans, they will dry and they'll kind of rattle in the pod and you'll know that they're ready. I did want to mention that the beans in general will grow in any kind of soil, basically.
Yes.
They kind of
they create their own nitrogen.
They create their nitrogen. They make their own fertilizer,
right? Essentially. I mean, if you got terrible dirt, sandy soil, you do need. It's not just to plant them on the moon and watch them grow. You got to. There's a certain level of quality the soil has to be, but versatile containers in the ground, raised beds on any of these, you can grow them. And with the dry beans, if it is going to frost or it's going to rain or snow, you got to get them out. Otherwise, they're going to mold in the pod.
Yeah, you definitely don't want them to mold in the pod. So if you get a situation where you're going to get a hard freeze, you will have to take them off of the vine before the hard freeze comes. And then in that case, you'd want to just kind of lay them out, let them dry. Maybe if you have like a sunroom or just an extra room that they can lay out to dry, that's where you want to leave them.
Well, now that the weather is starting to warm up, Holly, you'll want to protect your garden from various beetles, weevils, borers, including those Japanese beetles.
Yep, and what better way to prevent those pests from destroying your garden than by controlling them while they're larvae? Grub Gone is an easy-to-apply granular product that can be spread on your turf to successfully control grub invaders. Developed by Phylum bioproducts from a naturally occurring bacteria. Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT product that specifically targets only certain scarab pests, and it's safe to use around bees and other beneficial insects.
Yes, and if you already have beetles flying around your yard, and if you don't, you will, Beetle Gone is an organic water dispersible powder that you can spray directly on your edible plants. Find out more at phyllombioproducts.com. That's PHYLLOM bioproducts.com. Hang out with us when we come back. VP of Live Earth Products, Russell Taylor, will be with us. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Hi, I'm Russell Taylor with Live Earth Products. I'm a soil health expert here to help you. Live Earth Products specializes in soil conditioners and fertilizers that will help you build healthy and vibrant flower and vegetable gardens. As our name describes, Live Earth means healthy soils. Live Earth Products are humic and fulvic soil amendments and are all natural, organic, and directly from our family mine in Utah. Live Earth Products are easy to apply and the results will blossom right before your eyes. Live Earth Products can be applied throughout the growing season. So pick up Live Earth Humate Soil Conditioner and Liquid 6 Humic Acid at your local garden center or on Amazon. Also available through our website, liveearth.com. That's LIVEARTH.com. Live Earth, here to bring vitality to life in your garden.
Fleet Farm's Garden Center is now open. Stop in to check out their selection of nursery quality plants available at low prices. All of their plants are grown in the Midwest, and their vegetables are insecticide free. Choose from annuals, perennials, shrubs, trees, and more. Plus, take care of your lawn with grass seed fertilizers, lawnmowers, and string trimmers. Get everything you need to keep your yard looking great at Fleet Farm, your lawn and garden headquarters. Dig planting holes from a comfortable standing position. Step, twist, pull, and plant. Visit ProPlugger.com.
Dripping Springs Oyas clay pot irrigation solves the watering needs for gardens, bushes, new trees, and more. An ancient irrigation system we brought to America. Dripping Springs Oyas, OLLAS, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Check us out.
Wind River Chimes creates a symphony in any space. Chimes that are inspired by nature and designed to make the natural world even more inspiring. Music speaks to everyone. Individually handcrafted in Virginia for over 35 years and hand-tuned for an exceptional precision and lasting beauty. Because in life, the winds of change are always moving. But no matter where they carry you, Wind River Chimes will always be the inspiring harmony. With a large selection and customization options, you will find the sound that soothes you. Visit windriverchimes.com to shop and find out more.
Rootmaker starts your plants off right and keeps them going through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Their products will provide you the harvest you've never seen before. Visit rootmaker.com and use coupon code RADIO23 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com.
Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Happy Leaf LED, Rootmaker, Jung Seeds, Tree Hugger Sprinklers, Verlo Mattresses, Farmer's Defense, Pomona Universal Pectin, Natural Green Products, Mantis Tillers. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you for being part of the program today. Moments away, Russell Taylor will be with us, Vice President of Live Earth Products. But first, a message from our good friends at Rise Gardens.
Rise Gardens is a revolutionary hydroponic gardening system for your home. Instead of food traveling hundreds or even over 1,000 miles before it hits your plate, harvest the veggies, herbs, and greens you need for dinner tonight in the comfort of your home. No green thumb required knowledge. Gardening made easy with the Rise Gardens app. Step-by-step guidance from seed to harvest. A complete garden on a shelf and comes with everything you need to grow healthy and the freshest food for you and your loved ones. Fully customize your garden to your needs and preferences. For more information and get your Rise Garden, visit risegardens.com.
Well, Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Russell Taylor, VP of Live Earth Products. which is a sponsor of the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. To be transparent, Live Earth Products, located in Emory, Utah, mines manufactures humic acid and fulvic acid based products. The humic based ingredients manufactured by Live Earth are used in the following industries: agriculture, animal feeds, cosmetics, dietary supplements, balneotherapy, bioremediation, organic gardening, and lawn care. We're going to talk about humic and fulvic acids and its benefits in the garden. Welcome to the program, Russell.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your day and the sponsorship that you've provided for the program to allow everybody to hear it. So let's get started with some of the basic understandings here, Holly.
Yeah, let's start with the understandings of what humic and fulvic acids are.
Sure. So the first thing you need to understand about humic and fulvic acids is they are a point in time in decomposition. So people understand what, let's say, freshly deposited material in a compost pile is, apple cores and those kind of things, and that turns into compost. And as that material degrades further after that compost is degraded, it forms things like humic and fulvic acid. So humic and fulvic acid is the end result of decomposition of plant material.
Okay. And many traditional chemical fertilizers lack carbon while containing a higher level of nitrogen than plants can process. How does carbon affect plant growth?
So I like to partition my carbon into two different categories. And the reason I say that is carbon is just used in a general statement, and we really don't describe how that carbon bond makes it useful to the plant or the soil, the microbe. For example, all ladies in the room could take and look at their diamond ring and realize that thing is almost 100% pure carbon, but virtually useless to the soil in the way that carbon is bound. And the same is true for the amendments you're adding to your soil. So active carbon or active organic matter is being broken down by the microbes. They're using it as a food source. Your passive organic matter is your organic matter and that carbon that is kind of the leftovers. It hasn't gone through that process of turning into coal and then diamonds. It's somewhere in the middle. So that carbon kind of acts as a shelf space in the soil. It helps your soil hold, store, and exchange nutrients. So typically when you're in your soil classes at university, they talk about carbon and nitrogen ratios and how they're important. Well, in practice, most people will know how much nitrogen they use, for a growing season. Let's say, for example, a lawn owner will put down 3 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet annually. But what do they do for their carbon? And that's important because the carbon in the structures of humic and fulvic acid helps store nutrients. And so typically when you're adding high amounts of nitrogen fertilizer without sufficient organic matter and humic and fulvic acid to store them, that nitrogen is lost. Now, nitrogen is quickly converted into a gas or into compounds by the microbes that is leached away from the root profile. So by adding humic acids with your conventional fertilizers or even organic fertilizers, you're actually giving that plant a longer opportunity to use that nutrient. And I can give you one quick example. The Rose Bowl Stadium, Live Earth Products is a partner with the Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena. Now, the Rose Bowl Stadium is actually constructed on a silica sand base, which is very highly leachable. It allows them to grow that very beautiful grass, but like a golf course green, but they have a hard time with nutrient retention. So they'll use Live Earth humic and fulvic acids to help retain the nutrients in that root profile to help that stadium achieve its iconic green color. That's by giving that plant a longer opportunity to use those nutrients.
Right, and I think people who have poor soil, they just think, add more fertilizer, that's the answer.
Yeah, and that's really problematic. It's like the best example I can give people is imagine drinking from a fire hose, getting all your water for the month in one shot. Both inefficient, painful, and not the best way to get your water. That's what we're doing a lot with these fertilizers. We're telling this plant, okay, here's your nitrogen dose for the month, and you have to make 100% use of it. Don't waste any of it. Don't spill any of it. And so that's how we're getting an inefficient use of these nutrients. And so the concept is let's add something with that nutrient that naturally occurs in the soil anyways. Humic and fulvic acids are naturally occurring. So we're only adding something that would mimic what's going on in nature and make that nutrient last longer.
Okay. So how does humic and fulvic acids benefit random, or not random, but a regular gardener with their garden soil?
So the nice thing about humic and fulvic acids is they're not exclusive to conventional growers or organic growers. In the end, humic and fulvic acids are the base of any soil organic matter. When you talk about soil organic matter, people say, oh, we got low organic matter, high organic matter, and they just move on. They don't talk about the components of organic matter and how it's beneficial. So humic acid is that passive fraction of your soil organic matter that holds and retains nutrients. It also creates structure in your soil. So imagine the caramel in a nut roll, right? It causes kind of things that kind of clump together. The same thing is true with some of the humic and fulvic acids. They kind of make these crumbly, loose soils. And that crumble in the soil that's kind of aggregated together creates a home for microbes. It creates space for water, oxygen, nutrients, all of those things you're trying to encourage in your garden soil anyways. And by increasing that porosity in your soil, you're actually retaining water and facilitating microbial activity. So those are all the things you wanted to occur in your garden anyways. When you kind of speed up that process, create homes for microbes and those kind of things, all of a sudden you get more roots, more opportunity for a plant to absorb nutrients, bigger, better fruit, and a happier gardener.
And one thing that I do enjoy about the Live Earth products is that it's made in America. It's mined in Utah. It's not shipped over from some country, and they're getting the benefits of our dollars, and it's not staying in the United States.
Yeah, so the Live Earth Products was founded by my father in the early 80s. So a family business. We mine and manufacture these deposits in Utah. The deposit we mine is, think of it as an ancient compost pile, 75 million year old leaf pile. All that plant material is just stacked up here in the desert, hidden under the rocks in Utah. You wouldn't have known it if you were flying by it. Yeah, so American made, proud to be a family business and a small business. And we're not a big, large corporation.
How did your father find this deposit? Was it by accident, or was there a scientific, like, I know it's here and I just got to find it type of thing?
He was working with a group of people, and they were looking for tar sands and oil shales. It was part of the Superfund money in the 80s. So he was a contractor for mining. They found our deposit. They said, wow, it's not what we're looking for. It might make a fertilizer or something. And they moved on. And my dad's like, hey. And so he placed a claim, and that's our family story.
Wow. So how long, or is there a different way to apply the humic and fulvic acids in a garden or a yard versus something like a field?
Yes. So humic and fulvic acids can be found in two forms. They can be a granular form or a liquid form. So I use these two tools differently. So let's say, for example, you had a newly established garden where you had an opportunity to kind of till these things into the soil and work them in before you planted your garden or established a new lawn. That's the ideal opportunity to get the granular material in the ground. And let's say, for example, you've already got your plants in the ground, or you've got this heirloom rose that you want to just give it a nice dose of love and boost and kind of improve the soil without digging it up and working things in the soil. That's when the liquid application becomes more useful. So they're kind of tools we use differently. When I was an applicator, I did lawns professionally while I was in college, and the number one tool I went to was my granular humate to begin the season. And then later on in the season, I would actually use the liquid humic acids with my fertility. So I would use that in conjunction with my nutrients to make them last longer. Now, your question was kind of, what's different between the farm and the home gardener? And there's not much, because you're kind of using the tool the same way. The farmer is actually using this. Our university testing has shown that adding humic acid with the nutrient will help it last longer in the farmer's fields. Now, that same usefulness is not going to go away. It's going to be used in your garden also.
Well, how long after you apply it will it start taking effect in the soil and you'll start seeing the plants react to it?
So I'll quote my university soil professor from many years ago, and his answer was always so frustrating, but he said, it depends. And it really depends on your soil type and texture. The one thing to remember about soil texture is the more sandier your soil is, the less surface area it actually has. and that's measured by a measure we call cation exchange capacity, or CEC. You're not going to hear that described in most of your reasons for applying products, but humic acids actually have a high CEC. So typically we're going into any soil that has low organic matter, and generally low organic matter is also can drive your cation exchange capacity in your soil. But the thing to remember is humic acids can be used in situations for nutrient retention, but also compaction. And so let's say, for example, you're treating a situation with compaction. Depending on your soil texture, your clay soil might take a little bit longer than some of your lighter texture soils. But I've had situations within days where I've added humic acid to a lawn and see the color change. So it really depends on your soil type and texture, but you can see a very quick response, particularly with soils that have marginal pH, high salts, compaction, some of those things that higher organic matter will help address.
Fantastic. Now, when using the humic and fulvic acids, will this attract animals and or bugs to the garden additionally, or is it kind of neutral?
Yeah, humic acids are more neutral. They don't contain any plant proteins or animal proteins. They're fully degraded plant materials. So unlike some fish products and other things like that, there's no foul odor. Humic substances like humic and fulvic acid are fully degraded. Our deposit is actually used in dietary supplements, cosmetics, and animal feeds. It's a mineral, so you're not going to attract any weird wildlife or insects by using humic and fulvic acids.
Now, with an application, obviously there is instructions on the proper amount to apply, but if you can't basically overdose on the plants, if you put too much, it's not necessarily going to hurt things, or where does that fall in that rule?
So the general concern is when you over apply something, usually what you're affecting is what they call the salt index. And the salt index will cause burn in a plant. And what happens is that salt will impact the roots and how the water gets across the root membranes. The humic and fulvic acid does not affect that. So it's kind of like over applying compost. You're somewhere along the lines, you've just got a lot of compost there, but it's not going to damage the plant. Humic acids are the same way. Generally, you run out of money before you'll use too much product, and so it's you can follow the labels, but if you apply a little generous amount, it's not going to hurt. And in certain instances, you've got to remember that humic acid is a component of your soil organic matter. So sometimes more is a little better, particularly on the soils that have low organic matter. You can actually lean on the higher end of the application rates and still be okay.
Now, are we looking at applications multiple times a year, or depends on the growing season or what you're growing, or what do we do on that?
So with the liquid humic acids, you go more frequently. And I always encourage people to use the liquid humic acids with your nutrients. So if you're applying a nitrogen product, apply some humic acid. Typically on a lawn, we'll go 3 times a year with our fertilizer application. And with a granular, we're usually doing it at the beginning or end of the season when we can get more soil incorporation. So springtime, we're going to aerify a lawn. We'll put some granular humic acid down. Or springtime when we're applying our materials before we till in our garden and work up our beds. Those are the ideal times to get the granular down. The liquid you can use all during the season. And we also sell products that are blended with fertilizers. So you'll often find humic acids plus a fertilizer, and so pay attention to that because sometimes that added fertilizer can restrict your application rates.
Right. Well, Russell, we greatly appreciate your time. How can our listeners get a hold of Live Earth products?
So we're slowly adding stuff to our website, which is liveearth.com. That's liveearth.com. The most convenient location is actually through Amazon. Live Earth Products has some Amazon listings where you can buy these products. Since we're a small family business, we are regionally available, so most of the Western United States, people can go to a brick and mortar store and get them. As you go further east in the United States, sometimes Amazon is the best option for locating our products.
Well, thank you so much, Russell, for your time, your sponsorship, and the information.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Tree Hugger sprinklers are the ultimate watering device for either your newly planted or established trees and shrubs. Our sprinklers open and close around the trunk of your tree and provide 360 degrees of watering. With our adjustable valve, you can direct the water to your tree's targeted saturation zone. They come in 3 sizes, 7, 11, and 15 inches. You can purchase a Tree Hugger sprinkler at your local garden center, feed store, or hardware store. Go to treehuggersprinklers.com to find a retailer close to you. Or you can buy it directly from Amazon or treehuggersprinklers.com. If you're an independent nursery, garden center, hardware store, or feed store, you will want to stock this product. Contact the good people at Tree Hugger Sprinklers and they will get you set up. Your tree's best friend. treehuggersprinklers.com. Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardeners, farms, landscaping, and more. To find our products nearest you, visit blueribbonorganics.com. Tools for planting your garden and keeping it growing all season long. Whether your garden is big or small, Chapin has sprayers and spreaders for fertilizing, weed, and pest control, watering, and seeding. You can find Chapin products at your local hardware store, big box retailer. You may visit them also online at chapinmfg.com to learn more and buy online. We know that you appreciate the value of a beautifully landscaped yard, but tackling such a project yourself can seem way too complicated, right? Bloomin' Easy plants are the answer. Their plants are low maintenance and offer exceptional beauty and color for your yard. Plus, they offer free seasonal care reminders with simple how-to videos tailored to the plants that you choose. With Bloomin' Easy on your side, creating the yard that you've always wanted becomes as easy as plant, water, and relax. Check them out at your local garden center or by visiting bloomineasyplants.com.
You put a lot of time and energy in your garden, but without a rescue Japanese beetle trap, you can kiss that hard work goodbye. Asparagus annihilated. Raspberries ravished. Green beans, forget about it. Get those little invasive pests out of your garden and send them where they belong inside a rescue Japanese beetle trap. Now with available refill lures, rescue Japanese beetle traps can be used for multiple seasons. They're made in the USA by the makers of the popular Rescue Fly and Yellow Jacket traps. Learn more at rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com. Mantis tillers, the premium long-lasting gas-powered tillers, are the perfect solution for any garden. This Mantis machine is available with 2 or 4 cycle engines with a 19-inch or 16-inch tilling width. Your DIY companion in your garden and your lawn converts easily for edging, aerating, and more with optional attachments. Find details at mantis.com.
The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Dripworks, Rise Gardens, Grip 6, Bloomin' Easy, Fleet Farm, Waltons Incorporated, Blue Ribbon Organics, Tree Diaper. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us today. Happy that you've taken time either to watch us, download the program, or listen to us on the radio. If you've got a question, it's time for Garden Questions and Answers. If you've got a question, we've got an answer for you. You can certainly send that over via email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or you can give us a call toll-free, coast to coast, at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469.
This question is sponsored by Fleet Farm and fleetfarm.com. How do I get good Brussels sprouts? I've had large, tall plants, but small sprouts. What do I do to increase those sprouts?
Okay. So first of all, at this time of year in most places, if you've not, I guess you can put the seed right in the ground. If you don't have starts, I was going to say you should get them at your local independent garden center, which you can. But if you've got seed, you can probably go ahead and plant them now anyway, because Holly, you planted everything. It didn't matter what time of year, whenever you were a kid.
I don't think we ever grew Brussels sprouts, but you can still do it.
If you missed the show last week, when Holly grew up in the city, that they didn't have plant starts. There was in our area, Memorial Day weekend, tomato seeds, pepper seeds, eggplants, cucumber, everything went in the ground as a seed, and it all grew. And we're going to practice some of that this year because some of our tomatoes are not that wonderful.
I'm sure you could buy plant starts. We just didn't.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. You weren't in that area. Yeah. It wasn't 1893. So Brussels sprouts. You want to when they get tall and you start seeing the sprout start to develop in the junction of the stalk and the limb, that's when you want to take your shears or your scissors and cut off the top 6 inches of that plant. What that is going to do is going to stop vertical growth and put that plant in a reproductive state of mind and start developing the sprouts in the junction area where the typical sprouts will go. Most times, the higher up on the plant, the larger the sprout. Down by the stem, we've seen smaller sprouts, but we've had them as big as a ping pong ball size because it's not vertically putting energy into upward growth. And that plant will continue to grow and continue to grow if you don't do that. We found that to be the most successful and beneficial way to get the plant to produce very good sprouts. And some of you are going, I don't like Brussels sprouts. That's fine, but you've never had homegrown Brussels sprouts. Of course, the ones in the store are, you either eat a Brussels sprout or a hockey puck. They have the same flavor. But when you grow your own, it is a totally different palatable experience in which you can't get any other way. All right, Holly. Let's see here. All right, Holly, let's go to the hotline. We had a call come in from Colorado. They listened to our show on the Roar of the Rockies, KHNC 1360 AM, and they didn't leave a name, but they left a question.
Hi, it's the first time I'm listening. I'm calling from Colorado. If you would kindly give us some hints how to get the raspberries larger and the appropriate fertilizer to use.
All right. Well, we appreciate the phone call. You can do that at 1-800-927-SHOW. Raspberries, getting them bigger. Now, with raspberries, Holly, they are a perennial. They will come back year after year. And some people have the misunderstanding that, it's in the ground. It's okay. I don't have to water that.
Yeah, a lot of people, because they are perennials and
it survived this long.
They kind of view them maybe as like trees,
yes,
I guess, or like their own bushes along their landscape. And that's not the worst thing to assume.
It's not your mistake you think that. It's just part of our understanding.
Yeah, it makes sense. But you want to give them lots of water. You want to feed them, give them compost. There are different varieties, raspberry feeding fertilizer that you can find. It would say like berry bush fertilizer, etc. That you can find. Just make sure that you are following the directions when you do feed them. The other thing is that sometimes it does take a couple years for them to produce fully. So maybe you have had them planted for a couple of years. There may be more raspberries that come in next season. So the biggest thing though is definitely to water. You want to make sure that you feed them or put some compost around the base of the plants. And then I would also mulch them just because that will help.
Like we talked about with the asparagus.
Yeah, it'll just kind of help give them like a nice layer over the top. And then that way it'll keep the water in from evaporating off the soil too quickly. And it usually looks nice too. Yeah,
you can water them with a drip system from dripworks.com, a manual system from treediaper.com, a watering system for treehuggers.com. The other thing that you want to be aware of, and if you've never grown raspberries, here's your tip of the day. Raspberries will spread. They shoot runners out, much like Creeping Charlie. And we started with 4 plants. 1 had died, so we were down to 3 plants. And that was in 2020, that year. And then since then, we now have somewhere around, and this is an area that's 6 foot wide by 10 foot long, we have somewhere around 15 seedlings or sprouts coming up this year because of all the runners that have planted themselves from the mother plant or the main plant we planted multiple years ago. The odd thing about it is they're not growing in the northern direction. They're all growing in the southern direction. I don't know if that has something to do with the sun being there, but it's just like a wall, like somebody's put a concrete wall. Nothing's growing beyond one area, and everything's merging south. So, but each one of those plants now that has come up is approximately $15 because we paid $15.99 per plant, 4 plants 3 years ago, and now each one of those, and it's not a bad problem to have. It's like Jerusalem artichokes; they will reproduce year after year by the tubers. So, a lot of water, lot of fertilizer, a lot of compost. I mean, not tons of but top dress, but keep the water to them, and you will have very good raspberries. Well, Holly, that will do it. Thank you for tuning into the program. If you've missed any portion of the program or would like to revisit it, you can certainly do that by going to your favorite search engine and typing in the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. Or you can send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we will send you a link to the program. This program. Tune in next week to a program where we'll be discussing watering your garden, what to do, what not to do, and how to go about doing it doing it correctly, as well as pickling. And our guest, he is the co-founder of Phylum Bioproducts. John Libbs will be with us. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.